interwebs. How many juggalos ever heard of a website called Faygoluvers.net? Faygolovers with a U and a .net because somehow Faygolovers.com was taken. Give it up for a hero of the Juggalo community, a great person and friend, the one and only Scottie D from Faygolovers.net.
Thank you so much, guys.
Scottie D! Scottie motherfucking D!
I'm truly overwhelmed, guys. Thank you so much for joining me as we peacefully protest our rights as music fans and as Americans.
God, there you go, on the mic and loud as a mofo.
To the media, the onlookers, and the detractors, welcome. And the Juggalos in attendance, whoop whoop. For those who don't know me, my name is Scott Donahue. In the Juggalo world, I'm known as Scottie D. I have owned and operated one of the biggest Juggalo-based websites for nearly the last 2 decades. I've taken a lot of time over the past few weeks to come up with what I'm about to say, so thank you for joining me as I try to convey our message.
Get it, Scottie! Whoop, whoop.
The American experiment has been an ever-changing has been an ever-changing acceptance of what is normal.
You fucked up! 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 Come on, Scottie, please!
Alright. We stand in an unprecedented time and a place in our nation's history where acceptance of others is being taught to the next generation instead of intolerance. A time when hating people just because they look differently is no longer something we accept as normal. We are Juggalos, and that makes us different. Being a Juggalo is something that I'm extremely proud of. It means being who I am with the people I care about and listening to the music that I grew up with. Juggalos are my family, my friends, and we come from every city and every state in our union. We accept everyone from everywhere who come in with an open mind, an open heart, or just want to hang out with the other people who don't fit in. It's a community spread far and wide, based on the love of music that is somewhat crazy, sometimes over the top, and amazingly theatrical. We paint our faces, put our collective middle fingers in the sky, and scream, "I don't give a fuck!" But in all honesty, we do give a fuck. We give so much of a fuck that some of us traveled thousands of miles across the country to stand here in solidarity for being labeled as something that we're not, a gang. Before getting into the ridiculousness of this gang label and what harm it has caused to some upstanding and innocent people in our subculture,
You said it right, dicklessness.
let me tell you about my first experience with Juggalos and what ultimately drew me into the scene. In the mid-1990s, I was a loner in junior high with just a few friends. I fit the typical suburban white kid mold, listening to alternative rock, completely naive about most hip-hop, especially this brand of it. It was in 1996 when I was handed an orange cassette tape that forever changed life as I knew it. It was Insane Clown Posse's The Riddle Box, and I had never heard anything like it. This was quite literally a horror movie in music form. And while I enjoyed it for the shock factor, among other things, I wondered just what kind of people were attracted to this type of music. Fast forward a few years, and I finally worked up the nerve to go to my first ICP show. I had only ever been to some country music concerts that my mom dragged me to as a kid, and an alt-rock show or two, but it was in downtown Dallas, Texas, one night on a mild winter night in 1999 that I had my first real experience with Juggalos. Hundreds were gathered outside the venue, many with their faces painted, some spraying Faygo on each other. But most importantly, everyone was having a great time. In any other line that I've ever stood in, waiting was the worst part. For Juggalos, it seemed like it was just as fun as what was going to happen later on inside the venue.
Family! 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 Family!
I love you guys so fucking much.
Yeah! We love you too!
As me and a couple of friends approached the line, we were warmly greeted, and conversations of how many concerts we'd been to when we first heard about ICP and general life experiences were had. Keep in mind these were completely strangers, and it was one of the most comfortable and accepted times that I've ever had up to that point in my life. After that night, feeling the energy and passion surrounding the scene, there was no question in my mind that I was a Juggalo. In the past 20 years or so, I've made hundreds, no, thousands of friends. All of the extremely close friends in my life, people that I consider family, I met through the Juggalo scene. We bend over backwards to help each other out. We help friends of each other just because any friend of theirs is a friend of ours.
Yeah.
We trust each other with our lives. We as Juggalos are comprised of people from all spectrums of race, religion, class, and sexual orientation. And while we are not particularly political, most of us take strong stances against domestic abusers, racists, pedophiles, and rapists. These people, we do not judge based on their appearances, but rather by the foul nature of their actions. We are the people that you want on your side. So instead of focusing on how weird or outrageous Juggalos are, let's talk about some of the selfless things we are involved with. Homegrown Juggalo organizations like the Scrub Care Unit provide food, water, and shelter to those who come to events with nothing more than the clothing on their backs. The SCU is completely funded by donations from Juggalos. Psychopathic Records has hosted events where entry fee is an actual premium canned good such as ravioli.
No lima beans,
not
bitch.
some stale ass cream corn. Right. I regularly see Juggalos organize events, charity events for deserving causes or individuals just because they've suffered a traumatic event, lost their job, or whatever the case may be. We have such a strong bond with each other that even when we see someone else hurting, we are eager to do anything we can to help. This, among other things, is yet another reason that I'm proud to be a Juggalo. No matter what our differences are, when we see suffering and strife, we all unite as one. So, why are we here? Why are we marching? Does my experience with Juggalos sound like that of a gang?
No!
What exactly is happening to Juggalos across the nation? For the uninformed, Juggalos are fans of horror-inspired artists such as the Insane Clown Posse were labeled as a loosely organized hybrid gang in 2011. Whether that sounds serious to you or not, it has had some devastating effects on those that I consider family. Juggalos, you've heard the stories. People losing their jobs, being denied entry into the military, and stripped of the custody of their children. All because the FBI has falsely labeled a particular type of music. So, to answer my previous question, we are here to break this gang label. No American should have their rights and liberties infringed upon due to their personal taste in music. If we stand down and say that it's okay to criminalize our fan base, where does it end? Whose fan base is next? It's a slippery slope, and not only do we need the federal government to retract this, but we need to stay on top of it to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. We, as Juggalos, realize that in the grand scheme of things of America right now, this is a small problem. But when systemic law enforcement errors affect hundreds of thousands of people, we have to start somewhere. Winning the small battle here could change the course of the future for thousands of lives all over the country.
True fucking story.
We stand up for ourselves today, but this is not just a Juggalo problem. When any American has a right reduced or restricted, it should become a rallying beacon for all of us to stand as one. While most do not understand the Juggalo culture, everyone in this nation should stand up to see our liberty restored. I want to thank Psychopathic for giving me this platform to speak, my good friend Jared who helped me organize my thoughts, to my blood family and close friends who have supported me through thick and thin, and to the Juggalos that I've considered family for over half my life. It should not be a crime to say that I'm a Juggalo. So let's band together and do something about it, and make sure that this mischaracterization ends here today. When laws are broken, Juggalos, like anyone else, should be accountable by good police work and judicial due process. That is the American system. The FBI's blanketing gang label holds us all accountable for the behavior of a few. So for our friends, our families, and our love of music, please stand with us as we fight this injustice as one nation. Juggalos, I fucking love you.
Yeah!